I'm Ty Woods. Okay, I didn't know anything about the military hardware that was available at the time, but I knew that there should have been a rescue, and I didn't know why. So what I did is I wrote a letter to President Obama, and I asked him this question. I said, if one of your family members had been in Benghazi, would you have done things any differently? And President Obama, he was gracious enough to write a letter to me. This is a copy. That's his signature right there. And he made 4 basic statements that we're going to look at right now. The first one, quote, U.S. forces could not arrive in time. Well, I didn't have any military evidence to the contrary, so, no, I guess he's telling the truth. Number 2, he said military forces were not close enough. Okay, well, they knew there was going to be an attack. Someone who was in the building, Ty was on the roof. Before he was killed, he made one last deal down there, and he talked to this particular individual. He called me twice, and he said the day before the attack, Ty had the skills of an emergency room doctor. He was a medic as well as the other skills. And the day before, he got everyone together, and he says, we're probably going to be attacked tomorrow. And he got out the ketchup bottle, he got out the medical equipment, the gauze, he got out the tourniquets, and had people practice on each other, squirting the ketchup, putting tourniquets on, packing gauze. They knew there was going to be an attack. And Washington, D.C. knew there was going to be an attack. Okay, so when they say forces weren't close enough, they knew there was going to be an attack the next day. I would have pre-positioned assets. There were drones well, I found out later, Nick will confirm this, there were drones littering the sky. Okay, technically, they're supposed to be unarmed, but everyone knows that they aren't. They're equipped with Hellfire missiles. Now, a Hellfire missile can hit a target 3 feet. There were so many of them up above that if I had been sitting in the Situation Room in the White House, and I had the authority that our Commander-in-Chief has, I would have just said, okay, one of those drones, put one of those Hellfire missiles right in the front yard of the embassy right now, and guess what would have happened? Those terrorists, they would have been running for their lives. They wouldn't have even got as far as where Ambassador Stevens was. That wasn't done. In fact, actually, the battle lasted 13 hours. Not one thing was done in 13 hours. But, you know, he said it, so I guess we're supposed to believe it. Okay, number 3, I directed my national security team to do everything possible. What? Well, Nick, he pointed out to me, it wasn't what you're really thinking about. What he was actually saying was, I did everything possible to make sure everyone died in Benghazi. Ask yourself why. I don't know the answer to that. Okay? But it sure wasn't I didn't do everything possible to rescue, because for 13 hours, there was nothing done to rescue. In fact, Nick's going to tell you, they were ordered, do not rescue. Okay? The 4th thing, I know, when I found this out, my actions would have been the same if the attack had been against a member of my own family, end of quote. How many of you would want to be one of Obama's kids? I wouldn't want to be. Because guess what? If I was Commander-in-Chief and I was sitting in the Situation Room watching one of my family members or a family member of someone that was my job to protect, because we don't leave our military people behind. We always rescue. Okay, that's what we do. I wouldn't have gone upstairs and got rested up so I could go collect money the next day in Las Vegas. I couldn't have gone to sleep knowing that one of my family members or someone else's family member was going to be killed. I couldn't have done that. I'm a family man. And I'm sure you are. And I bet you there's not one family person here that could have gone to sleep with a good conscience, knowing that all you had to do was say the word and they would have been rescued. Okay, like I say, I don't have any military knowledge of what assets were available. But about a year and a half ago, I had an interview with Dave Janda, Dr. Dave Janda. Fantastic. Okay, he is, okay, Janda. Look him up, listen to him. Okay, he worked in the White House for years, way back in the Reagan time. So he's got a lot of contacts in the White House, and sometimes they even feed him information ahead of time to let the public know. He is a tremendous patriot. Well, after the interview, he said, if there's any military people out there that know why there wasn't a rescue, please contact Mr. Woods. A year and a half ago, several military people whose job it was to rescue contacted me. Okay, now AFRICOM and CENTCOM, they have two places of operation. And at those places, one of their jobs is to send out rescue teams on short notice to be ready 24 hours a day. Okay? There's one in Tampa, and there's one in Ramstein, Germany. The one in Tampa, they must have known there was going to be an attack, because at the time of the attack, they had a meaningless exercise called Forward Look going on. The people that were conducting that were complaining, hey, we need to cut short this exercise because there's people that might be dying in Benghazi. And guess what? They didn't stop the exercise. That was totally meaningless. Finally, it ended 8.5 hours later. And when it ended, did they rescue? No. You know what they were told? They were told, we're not supposed to do anything because we were ordered. The State Department is in control of Benghazi. Now, I don't know a whole lot. I'm just a stupid attorney. But I do know that the military does not take orders from the Secretary of State.
That's right.
The military takes orders from the Commander-in-Chief. That's President Obama, unless the Commander-in-Chief tells the military concerning concerning Benghazi, don't obey me, obey Secretary of State Clinton. Okay, I was shocked when I found that out. Can you think of one good thing that might have happened to our country because of the sacrifice that people made in Benghazi? I can think of one thing. Okay, usually when you cover up something, one of the ways you do it is by the passage of time. People forget about it. After about a week or a couple of days or a little bit of time, people forget about it. 4 years later, what started off as a snowball ended up being an avalanche right before the election in 2016. You know what happened. If it hadn't been for the sacrifices that were made in Benghazi, if it hadn't been for the blood that was shed there wouldn't have been the Crooked Hillary, there wouldn't have been the Benghazi emails, there wouldn't have been the 30,000 emails that were erased, but they were captured, okay? And there wouldn't have been the FBI report right before the election. That was enough to push it over the other side and prevent our country from becoming you-know-what, a totalitarian socialist government. That's the goal of globalism.
The story was by the Biden-Obama administration that there was this team that was under attack in this village. We're going to die if you don't get someone here really quick. And so they loaded SEAL Team 6 on this slow, vintage Huey helicopter the size of a school bus and slowly got them to the village. Now, they did not request help. They've been in that village numerous times before. In fact, if someone came, it would actually endanger them. The story was not true. And then usually when a helicopter comes in, it goes zoom right down to the ground, opens up, all the troops go out in seconds, and then boom, the helicopter goes straight up. Well, this was a sitting target, okay, the size of a school bus. It hovered in the air over that village just waiting to be shot down. And the people hot roped. I've never heard the word hot rope before. That means they each individually lowers down while it was a sitting target. And then apparently it was shot down by one of those weapons that Hillary Clinton illegally sent to Benghazi to give to a terrorist organization the US government used to get rid of our ally who was fighting terrorism. That's Gaddafi.
One of the
And then
Listen.
that weapon ended up over in Afghanistan.
They were Stinger missiles. Thousands upon thousands of them went missing, and Mark Turi was told that he had a small arms covert weapons program going, so that way none of that was ever given to someone, because they could shoot down jetliners just flying by if they wanted to. A child could do it, and a 12-year-old could do it. So these Stinger missiles went through Benghazi and then were given to the people who shot down SEAL Team 6. That was a setup. They were covering their tracks there. And then when they found the serial number on one of the missiles, it is traced back to the CIA from Qatar, from that weapons cache of Stinger missiles. That's why they had to then cover their tracks after people found out that the missiles were from Qatar, and then they could trace back where they came from Hillary through Benghazi. That's why Stevens was back there to recover those missiles and cover up the evidence. Well, that's at least what he was told. I assume that part of the plan for her was to eliminate everyone there at the Benghazi compound as well.
It's just so wicked. It's hard. It's just so unimaginably evil what these people do.
Dead men don't talk.
Well, Alan,
We'll talk. We will talk.
You have some good news coming up here in the next week and a half.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be released, audio tapes, documents.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing about it and seeing everybody connect the dots, because it's pretty plain to see the people involved, and it's all connected to another crime spree and that's another story though.
Well, let's just remember that heavy price has been paid for the secrets we are uncovering. And there are millions of people who want to see the truth. And we're going to deliver.
Well, America is a democracy, and for a democracy to work, the people that vote need to know what the truth is. And that is why we have 3 weeks for the people of the United States to get to know the truth. I hope that the media covers this, including the fake media, because the truth has to come out for our democracy to work properly so people can vote intelligently.
Totally agree. I agree.